Hi everyone, welcome to StrandTalks. My name is Ketki and I'm the Deputy Editor-in-Chief here at Strand.
Hi, I'm Bo. I'm a second year English student, and I've just written a fashion article for the Strand December issue.
So Bo's fashion article, TikTok Sustainability and Selling Virtual Patterns, is a conversation with Kaga Høglund, who's the designer of Merlon Cress. So you got to talk to her for this article. What was it like speaking to her?
Well, actually, because of the pandemic and because everything like being very like short in time, I didn't really get to speak to her. I reached out to like her and like other designers and told them that they can answer the questions like in writing or just send me a voice note, but everybody just sent me like a Word document back. So I didn't get to talk to her, but I have been following her for a few months on Instagram. So like it didn't feel very informal because like I've kind of like gotten to know her a little bit like through like DMs and stuff. So yeah.
And when you were reaching out to designers, was there any criteria you were looking for when you were choosing who? Was it like the Instagram labels? Was it sustainable fashion creators?
I specifically wanted to talk to Instagram labels who are like still small. Like I did try to like reach out to like the bigger labels, but I knew that they're not gonna message
like
me
Mason,
back. But
Mason Cleo.
Yeah, I messaged her, and then I also messaged, this is gonna be a little bit ridiculous. Lyrica Matoshi, like
yes, the strawberry dress.
Strawberry dress.
The
I was like, if
dress.
I can get to talk to her, girl, I will die. But of course, she never messaged me back.
I feel like in the new year we could try. You know, she's
right?
So cool, and also I always see her commenting back and responding to people. So
exactly, like she seems quite responsive, and like I tried those because I was like, why not reach for the stars? But then they never messaged back. So I was like, okay, let's try giving like smaller designers like exposure. So I messaged some of them and they were really responsive. Like Kaya messaged me back the same day, and then when I sent her the interview, she was done within a day. So it was pretty good.
So I look through Merlon Cress on Instagram and I love their style, like the whole romantic sleeve, puff sleeve. Do you think that that's something we're seeing so often, like, or so commonly on Instagram particularly, that style?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've been seeing it more and more now. Like maybe it's just because like I follow like a certain like niche of fashion right now, but like everything I've been seeing has puffy sleeves. And like the last I think 3 tops that I bought, which were all like from independent labels, had puffy sleeves. Like I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so pretty. Like I'm so happy it's back because I think it was gone for a while. And it's just I don't know, I feel like it's timeless. Everybody can wear it. And it looks cute with everything, really.
And something about puffy sleeves, I remember there was a thing where, you know, the fashion rule is if you had broader shoulders, you don't wear puffy sleeve. And I saw this content creator wear it and like speak out about the fact that how fashion rules just exist to kind of put people's bodies in blocks. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and buy some puffy sleeves because it shouldn't limit anyone, you know, whether your shoulders broad or narrow, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Like I think I used to wear puffy sleeves when I was like 12, and then I just stopped because I heard that as well. Like I have quite broad shoulders, like I'm not like petite. So I was like, I need to wear something that makes me look smaller, like, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, fuck. Am I allowed to swear?
Go for it. It's fine.
Yeah. Because like, honestly, you wear whatever you want. Like it doesn't look like it looks on the models on the Instagram pages, but I still like myself in it, and that's all that really matters.
Exactly. And kind of like leaning in towards the whole idea of like rules and fashion do's and don'ts. Do you think things like TikTok and social media as a whole kind of like push forward that dialogue that there are rules or there are aesthetics and there are things. Like I feel like almost this year we've seen that happen more, because in 2020 I've realized there's things like cottage core, dark academia. I didn't even know what that was, and I thought I, you know, was quite up to date with all like the fashion terminology. I just didn't know that was a thing, and now there's all these terms out. So
Yeah, 100. Like I think that TikTok in particular has like a big influence on that. Like to me at least, because before I went on TikTok, I've never like heard, like as you said, like things like dark academia, cottage core, aesthetic. Um, and like I feel like TikTok is a place where people like to put things in like boxes. Like even your For You page. Like whenever I get like weird, you know, like videos of like e-boys, I'm like, oh my god, why the fuck am I on straight TikTok? Like, and
literally.
then all TikTok, and like I mean that's not fashion in particular, but like even on fashion TikTok, you have so many, as you said, like um different like boxes and categories. So I think recently I've been on Chinese fashion TikTok, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Um,
We've
but
gotten to that point in a pandemic where we're looking at people walking slowly and we're like, oh, the
I
style,
know,
the
right?
shape.
And then 10 videos, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, why
I'm
do I
never
look
gonna.
like this? But you're so right. Like I feel like there is a drawback to the like invention of all these aesthetics, in the sense that it's amazing that there's so much representation, and you know people are using even their own cultural, you know, garments and accessories and proudly showing them off, you know. But at the same time I do feel like maybe for young people who are maybe more impressionable, they're being told that, oh, they need to fit in a category, your aesthetic needs to be e-girl or that. So you know I do hope, like as we go forward with like social media, we do like promote the thing that you can like pick and choose any style, there's no rule, right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. I see it a lot with like younger Gen Z as well, that they pick an aesthetic and they really stick to it, and I'm just over here like, wow, like congrats, like that's amazing, but
That is
I could never.
commitment that I cannot like their rooms will have the aesthetic, their makeup will have the aesthetic. I'm like,
Their
that is
outfit.
perfection.
Like the
Perfection.
other day I was talking to my friends and I was like, all Gen Z knows how to do is saddie or baddie. And then my friends, like, it was supposed to be a roast, but my friends were like, look at us. What are we doing though? Like
Yeah.
at least they can do saddie and baddie. We're just here like being couch potatoes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, true, I guess.
Yeah. Literally. But in your article, like you talked a lot about obviously TikTok, but it's kind of social media as a platform. And you wrote, with us practically living online, the usage of social media as a marketing tool has become essential for the establishment and sustenance of a clothing label. So I wanted to ask, do you think that having a strong Instagram presence or social media presence is intrinsic to being successful as a clothing brand today?
Um, Depends. I think if we are specifically to look at smaller brands, independent brands, like independent designers, I feel like if you really want to be successful and make money from your business as well, then like you have to be online. Like you have to be engaging with your followers online, because depending on who your followers are, but like let's say if you target like Gen Z and millennials, then you have to be online and you have to post daily as well. Because for me, I follow a lot of smaller brands, and there are so many, and I discover more and more every day. Like it's gotten so bad that like I've had to make like a separate Instagram account just for fashion, so I
I
keep
love that.
up to date. But even even I see that like when you're as a small brand, you don't post every day, or like maybe the algorithm fucks you over and like I never see their stories. I
Yeah.
kind of forget about them. And then with other brands that I always see, I'm like, oh, this is so nice, like I should look into this, or maybe I should get this. Like otherwise, if they don't post, I don't get exposure to their brand, you know. Whereas like Zara and I don't know, Primark, whatever, like they
They're
have money to
established.
ads up, yeah, and they're established. So I
Yeah.
don't think for them it's so important to be like have an online presence.
For sure. And I also think we're in this age of like these social media brands have insane self-awareness, which I'm not speaking like just about, sustainability, what that means. Like we'll come on to that later. But like I always think of Iris,
Yeah.
right? So insane brand, like super expensive, but like all their pieces are so incredible. Or even this isn't fashion, but like Glossier, okay? Like if we look at these two brands and how they started, you know, they make memes about themselves. They apply their products in like real life. They make edits. Like I don't know how to describe it other than self-awareness. I feel like they put their brand in the zeitgeist or like in the dialogue at the time. Whereas a lot of other brands I've seen, it's kind of like these are the clothes. You like it, you come to us. Whereas I feel like certain brands that are really popping off right now are the ones that are like putting their trends for like putting their clothes in the trends, basically.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. That's what
No,
I'm
that
saying.
makes a lot of sense. Like I haven't thought of it like in that way, but that makes a lot of sense because like a lot of brands that I see that like started out very small, they have been very like forward with their marketing. Like they create, as you said, like memes about themselves. Like even like some of them go viral for like these things. And
It's
I'm pretty sure that
virality,
like
right? Yeah.
yeah, like when like I think I found out about Maison Cleo because she started this movement, like the designer and her mom. She started this movement about fuck fast fashion, I think she calls it. And she like trended like the hashtag and everything, and then I think AliExpress or some big corporation like stole one of her designs, and she was
I'm
like,
not surprised.
what the fuck, like
Yeah.
yeah, like I think it was this blouse, and it on her website it cost 100 and something euro, 150, and AliExpress sold it for 15. So she was outraged, and that's kind of like how I found out about it, because like other activists would post about it, and then I found her page and I was like, oh my god, her clothes are so nice. And then I saw like celebrities wearing it, and I feel like for a small brand, if you want celebrities to wear your clothes, like I mean, I don't know anything about marketing, but I feel like you just send like thousands or like hundreds of like your clothes to celebrities, and some of them might wear it and get like
Yeah.
photo with it, and then you just repost it, and then suddenly like you have a lot of following, because people are always like still wondering like what are celebrities wearing, like how can I look like them. And that's also how I found Ars and Iris. Like I love their clothes, but
Yeah.
I've seen it, I've had to see it everywhere on Instagram, and like they're always tagged.
Like all the Kendalls, the Bellas, the Gigi's, they
Yeah,
all wear it. And then
exactly.
that's how we see it. Even though I don't consider them my style icons, like I would never look at them for style inspo. But when you see it everywhere, you're just like, wait a second, what are they wearing? Where have they got that?
Exactly. And I think that also happened with the strawberry dress, but like the strawberry dress is more like
It's
um
beautiful. I want it. I would wear that anywhere and everywhere.
same, same. Like honestly, I didn't even know about the trend when I found like the designer. I just found her and I followed her, and then she just kept reposting like her strawberry dress and like people making fan art of it, and I was like, what is
Yeah,
going on with this thing? So
same,
yeah,
same.
I love it too. I really want it, but it's so expensive, and I think it's always sold out.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and also continuing on that, one really huge part about the fashion, like we can't talk about fashion in 2020 or in this century without linking it to, the environment and sustainability. But I do think the whole thing of greenwashing, when brands greenwash with ambiguous terms like sustainable, eco-friendly, what does that even mean, Like do you think greenwashing is still such an issue in like small brands, big brands, everywhere?
Um, I think greenwashing is definitely still an issue, like a big issue, especially like for big brands, of course, like who just co-opted that and are obviously not like green or sustainable in any way. Um, and I think it should be trademarked. Like I think you should like be able to prove that you are actually like doing something and not like just putting the name on as you want, for big brands. But then for smaller brands, I've had to learn recently that it's nearly impossible. It is impossible in this current system to be truly 100% sustainable,
It is.
because yeah, because I mean, you even if you make the clothes yourself and you pay everybody fairly, you still need to get it from somewhere. It still creates waste. And it just doesn't work in the system to be 100% sustainable. And I think that's a lot more, that has been like really impressive to me when I've only seen this from small brands that have posted things like, we are not 100% sustainable, like, but we're being transparent about it.
And I do think we need to talk about the fact that sustainability, or not made to order, sustainable clothes, and I'm thinking of like Reformation, Realization, all of these brands are so, or once were so tailored to a set size of people, like the size, they ran from like size 0 to 4. And then there's this whole fashion movement that's like, why don't you shop sustainable? Why aren't we paying more for our clothes? Why aren't we doing this? And it excluded so many people. Forget plus size. I think it excluded people who weren't even, in that bracket of sizes, because there was no access to clothes for them. Like, if you look at it, there's so many plus size activists now who are so transparent about the fact that they want to be sustainable, but the options just aren't there. As a plus size woman or plus size man living, even in this country, they're just not there. So how, do you think there is that hypocrisy when you see brands being like, or not brands, activists being like, oh, for sustainable fashion, you need to do this, when it's not even accessible for all people in our society right now?
Yeah. Definitely. I think recently as well, with like, everybody having to stay at home, everybody got into like social activism a lot, and I've seen so many posts about, we need to stop like supporting Primark and Zara and Boohoo, which I agree with. Yeah. But as you said, it's not accessible for everyone, and we can't forget that. Not just not forget it and acknowledge it, but we need to, I personally think we need to put these people at the forefront of the action, because if you, in your activism, you forget the most vulnerable, who are you really fighting for, Like, at the end of the day, working class people are, in the UK at least, are like a bigger demographic. So if only rich people, higher class people, whatever, are buying sustainable brands, then it's not going to change anything. Like, other than their, morale, like about themselves, like, oh, I've done really well.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change anything. So we need to make it more accessible for different pockets and sizes, and otherwise there's no point in the movement.
And I do think when you start preaching online or trying to educate people, which is so important, we shouldn't tell people not to do that. But if you can't empathize with someone who doesn't have the same struggles as you, or who doesn't look like you, who never has the same, who can't shop the way you do, I think it does, like you said, we're excluding the most important people in this whole movement, because, you're kind of preaching at them and you're telling them how they should shop when, there aren't options. Like, it's just such a big paradox to me when I feel like I see all these green, sustainable, climate change activists, like, and even fashion influencers post so much about, the fact that they made the change from fast fashion to sustainable fashion, but then they exclude the fact that the brands that they shop for don't go past a size 4, a size 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, sweetie, I can't buy that either, Like, I'd love to hop on your sustainability train, but show me brands that I can buy as well that are affordable, and then maybe, So I do think,
as a movement, like, this is definitely not enough. Like, we need to be able to include everyone, especially, like, as I said, like, the most marginalized people in this movement. So, because otherwise it's not going to go anywhere. It's just rich people buying from other rich people then, and that's not going to change anything. And it's not just that. Like, I don't think it solely at all should rely on the consumer. Like, I feel like in fashion, specifically as a consumer, you do have more power than maybe, I don't know, if you like in, like, I don't know, other areas of like shopping. Like, for example, if you go go and buy groceries and you decide to stop buying Nestle, they're gonna be fine. But
Yeah.
if you as a consumer stop buying at Zara, but you start supporting smaller brands, Zara is gonna be fine, but the smaller brands are so happy that someone is like appreciating their art, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's important in the fashion movement. But then we can't forget that nothing's going to change unless we have like laws for fair pay and less waste. So we
Yeah.
need to like make this political and not like consumer based.
Yeah. But it is really inspiring to see so many people speak out about it, so many brands increase their size range, and even sustainable fashion, like brands not become cheaper, but like, put forward cheaper things as well, because, that does help people kind of, and even if it
Yeah.
is one outfit, even if a person can afford, one top, and it's made to order, sustainable, respecting the like creative integrity of this small brand, that's still amazing. Like, that's still one
Yeah.
step into,
It is. It's still one step forward, and I love that. That's why I'm like supporting those brands, like if I can. But as I said, I feel like only once like there have been changes in the law and like there have been like political actions taken. Maybe one day we can live in a world where made to order brands are cheap enough that most people or everybody can afford it, or everybody just earns more money so they can afford it, you know?
yes.
So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
And I do think as well, like, to round our, conversation off, sustainability is not just about buying or purchasing, because and also it means different things to different people of different, even cultural backgrounds. Because I remember when I first started, hearing about what it meant to be sustainable and eco-friendly, again, so ambiguous. I remember
Mhm.
thinking, like, growing up with my grandparents, like my aji in India, we always reuse, like, we would have fabric, or she'd reuse an old sari and make me like a top or trousers, and there was so much creativity and like recycling involved of like fabric and clothes, and it was so fun, and it was so normal in the sense that when I was doing it, or my grandma to this day, she does it, it's not seen as a political statement, it's not seen as this whole big deal, because that's just normalized to not waste clothes, to repurpose and constantly reuse. So I do think sustainable for a lot of people means repurposing, stitching, sewing, like, if you have a hole in one of your tops, crop that off, make it a crop top. I've done that. Or like ripped jeans, So it's not just about buying, I feel.
No, I 100% agree. I think um buying is part of it,
Yeah,
definitely. But the biggest part is probably the change that's going on in your head, because
yeah,
ever since I've like delved into this topic, like um I've thought about my clothes in a very different way. Even when I buy, I'm like, okay, do I really need this? Like, am I gonna wear this more than 50 times for like 10 years or something? Whereas before I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna wear this a year or two and then I'm gonna get over it.
yeah.
And also like the way I look at the clothes that I already have, like when I have a hole, like I've literally asked my mom to teach me how to like sew it together because I've
To
never knew
darn
it,
a
and I was
sock.
like,
Yeah.
what?
I said to darn a sock, like when your socks have holes.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just before I would just throw it away because like also I knew it was cheap, so I could just buy a new one.
Yeah.
But now like that has really changed. Like even if it's cheap or even if it's anything, like just a small hole or something that I don't like anymore, like instead of throwing it away and buying something new, I've been thinking about like reworking it so much that like I've been thinking about opening a Depop shop with my friend
Do
with
it.
like I want to, but like we're in the works. We don't. I need to get these essays over with first, and then
Yeah.
I can start to.
True, true. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So it's
I
been really inspiring for me
I
thinking
feel like
about these.
that's why I love the term. If we had to term it, if we had to put a label on it, I like slow fashion, because I think slow fashion, that brings in, the environment. Like, like equal pay, like better pay, fashion workers, purchasers, like it brings in everything. And even people who are, like you said, who don't use and throw, and there's more life to the clothes because it's slower. So
Mhm.
I really like that.
I love slow fashion, and it's
Slow,
like really
slow cook.
specific as well. Yeah. Like it's not like sustainable, which is like, as you said, like so ambiguous. So
Yeah.
I love the term slow fashion as well.
And kind of,
And as you
yeah.
said, like I remember in like when I'm from Vietnam as well, and whenever I'm there, like I've also noticed that like my family, they literally like would, when I was younger, they don't do it anymore, but they used to. They would like sew me pajamas from like old
Yeah.
like sheets and stuff, and I love them. And people never talk about that like we in like the Western world, like the more affluent parts of the world are creating, I think like 90% of the waste, and the people who suffer the most are those who are the most sustainable.
And that's what I mean. But there, that it's not a statement. It's not something that's super cool and done
Yeah,
as a trend. Like I feel like that's
not
just so intrinsic
culture.
to the culture. Exactly. And even that reminded me, like using tailors. Every time I go back to India, we have like a local tailor who gets paid to like create the garb, and it's like supporting small businesses, and it's supporting artisan practices of people who
Yeah,
can actually create and produce these clothes. And obviously not everything can be, tailor made, and it's not always that easy. But I remember like I would always look forward to like going to the tailor, because my grandma would gift all of us like a piece of fabric, and we'd like design like a top we want or a skirt, and the tailor would like take 2 weeks because it's not ready made, and we'd get it. And I still have every single piece I've gotten since I was like 11 years old, because you don't throw stuff like that away. Like the garment has more of a history and a story. So
yeah.
yeah, I agree.
True, and it has a lot more value as well. Like in Vietnam, I always love to go to a tailor as well, because you just kind of, because it takes so long, you're like, you really feel and you see the quality and like the craft behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I love about it as well. And also it's just so, it just feels so unique because like it has your measures. And like in Vietnam, I would always go in for like a check-in like the day after, or like she would call me up and be like, hey, it's done, you want to try it on? And if I didn't like something, she could just fix it right away.
Your
And I
mini
think that's,
fashion show.
yeah.
But yeah, so kind of like to end it all off, because we've touched on everything. What do you hope 2021 brings for fashion in as a whole? What do you hope to see?
um that's a good question that I haven't thought about.
Quick. It's a,
I
yeah.
hope to see
It's so big. I'm sorry. It's a very broad question.
I hope to see the brands that I'm already following, like the smaller ones, to get bigger and get I don't know, like I just want them to get a bigger following, because I've seen a lot of people getting into it, but like it's getting more and more every day. But I feel like it hasn't really been like a very active movement yet, except for like some smaller, you know, um, like campaigns. So I hope for 2021 that more people are thinking about their choices in fashion, like those who can, of course, as well, like within their measures. um and like the thing that we talked about just now, like not just about buying, but like about how you repurpose the things that you already have. I hope that's going to be like a bigger movement in 2021.
Yeah, for sure. And literally for me, the same. And also, kind of like a trivial point. I hope influencers, I don't want to say celebrities because I feel like we have seen this from celebrities, but influencers, Insta baddies. This is a call out. I'm calling them out right now. I want Insta influencers to normalize reusing outfits. I want to see someone on a feed use the same outfit at 3 different events. And I understand the whole, the gimmick of like they get gifted stuff, they have to use it. But I feel like if we as maybe young women, young men, like young people are seeing people use clothing again and again, it just normalize, like maybe we won't idolize them so much. Maybe we won't idolize
Yeah.
having a humongous wardrobe and constant gifts of fashion. Like I wish, yeah, I really want that normalized. I know it sounds so stupid, but like I want to see you wear the same outfit 3 times as I do in a week. Like,
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I am so annoyed with like most of the influencers right now. Like, I haven't actually thought about that, but that is so true. Like, I never see them wear the same things twice on their pictures, at least, or on their posts. And it's seen as something good.
yeah.
And if you think about it, they are influencers. If we want it or not, like they influence our generation. What they do, even if we don't like them, it's gonna become a trend. And I think with their power, they should definitely like drive this movement as well.
And I know
And
it
like
sounds
they,
like, yeah, sorry. I know it says it sounds like common sense to just reuse an outfit, but I do think
yeah,
if they just spoke, even if they do it in real life outside of their Instagram feeds, I'd love for them to talk about it and be like, you know what? I actually wore this
exactly.
outfit 4 times
Yeah,
this month because that's what people do. We wear the same clothes. You don't use it and throw, right? Yeah.
exactly. Especially Insta baddies, because I never see those like doing like brand sponsorships with like brands like sustainable brands or slow fashion brands. It's always like Fashion Nova or whatnot. I know like they get paid for it probably a lot as well, and like the smaller brands can't really afford to do that. But at the end of the day, you get paid, but also what happens is that you influence so many young impressionable people that are going to go and buy those things, and also like internalize that, what you said, that I can't wear my clothes more than once, otherwise I'm not trendy.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we touched on everything. This was super fun to talk about. And like we literally said, we can talk for hours. The conversation about fashion is about like everything. Like there's so much more to speak about. But thank you so much for speaking to
Thank
me
you.
and
Thank you
have a
for
good
having me.
Christmas and New Year. See you next
Thank
year.
you.
Bye.
Bye.